like I missed a cap.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's the end of the issues.
It'll be fine. This is the actual stream is going to be on Tag Pro TV, and my internet's been pretty stable, so we shouldn't have this problem too much next week.
All right, yeah, and I'll have completely different internet access too.
Sure.
All right.
So, anyways, to the game at hand, and we see the Reptile Dysfunction are winning now. So maybe my prediction will be coming true.
We'll see how it plays out. G-Man's looking pretty scary there in base of that Tag Pro. And now he's going to take it on the offensive. And it looks like there's another one waiting for him if he can beat the guy to it, and he does. Slow Polka, it's a little too slow. And now G-Man really could use a teammate. Come on, Exile. Ooh, that was so close. That was close too. And Exile coming into base. Is he going to be able to pull it off?
Oh, that Tag Pro is going to be doing some work right now,
being
too.
Patient, and what a fantastic, beautiful cap by Exile.
Oh yeah, that was that's something. That's the map knowledge there, knowing he's going to be able to get in. That was a really heads-up play from Exile. I think that was about the only way he's going to be able to get that cap. Although he did have that Tag Pro in base too.
Yeah, he came in with a rolling bomb. He didn't rush it. Waited slowly. Things looked like they were collapsing on him, but at the last second, he took the button and the bomb and came right in for the cap, equalizing this game. And it looks like Guard has no mic because I'm seeing all of his team chats. I can't understand playing without a mic at this level.
I mean, it's definitely happened. Ginseng, I think, still plays with no mic. And Salamander, his mic can be sketchy sometimes too, so it definitely can happen.
And here comes another cap. And great boost in by G-Man, who's leading the way for the Gasper and friends.
He's got a rolling bomb coming in too.
Yeah, man, he has been all over the place so far. And here he is off again. The flag's in base, but Matt O'Malley, as we've seen time after time again, with the snipe into return.
Yeah, and it's really good to note, especially if they move on, how G-Man uses that rolling bomb, because that's really similar how it's good to use it next week if they make the Geo Koala, getting around the back and blowing people sort of out in the direction he's leaving, just because it's spread them out enough for him to get out of there.
Right, and then meanwhile, in the blink of an eye, the Gasper and friends have taken a 3-1 lead.
And Scott, really unfortunate, taken out by the skill spawn.
Exile! Exile dodging and dodging. No one can seem to hit him. He's coming to the base now, and Guard with the button, preventing what would have been a fantastic cap, and G-Man boosting in on the left-hand side. He has the flag.
Exile kind of looking like Neo from the Matrix or something, man. I think he knows Kung Fu.
It was literally like running straight and having every bullet miss you.
The straight jukes, man. Sometimes they're the best jukes.
G-Man taking a risky path through the mid. Pays off. He's taking his time, staying alive, and Scott is there to take his flag. Man, G-Man, you gotta get out of there. That looks dangerous. And the flag's back in base now. G-Man has an opportunity to cap here. Slow Polka trying to find a way out. G-Man, meanwhile, picks up a rolling bomb, and Slow Polka is loose. The capping opportunity
and Exile,
is gone.
by the way, is in perfect position. So even if they get G-Man, they aren't going to be out of it yet. It's going to be a lot of whole time Slow Polka's going to need.
And it looks like Slow Polka's ready for the kiss. Oh, bad choice by Exile. Yeah, it's one of those things you can't really tell.
Nice job by Jex to get out of there, though.
Absolutely. And Scott just taking his time. Wants to come into base so bad, but there's too much blue between him and the base.
Yeah, that's smart of him to get out of there. And ICAP, that's been right on his tail, though. Pretty nice job. They haven't quite contained him, but they at least kept him in their sights.
G-Man taking a tour day map. Slow Polka, Matt O'Malley finally catches up to him, and Scott unable to get there in time. Gets a return. Great flash and return by the blue team.
Yeah, that was a nice job by Jegs cutting Scott off. It was pretty close for him, too.
And did you see that snipe right there by Matt O'Malley?
Yeah, he's been on fire.
That was gorgeous. I didn't think he was going to be able to keep up that play from the first game, but he has really just been all over the place.
He's been fantastic, and I was a little worried too, because I mean, sniping. I always like to tell people, especially like map makers, who'll set up snipes for defense, right? Well, we'll watch this hold on first of all from Scott.
Right, Scott's coming in, and great job by Scott, bustling his way in with the boost. And Slowpoke with another opportunity. He's got 2 power-ups and a flag. He's got 2 blockers. This should, by all means, be a cap, and it is. Equalize. Rectile Dysfunction is not dead yet. 3-3.
And that's exactly what I was saying. They just entirely caught Gasper and friends just out of position. They all got popped with that rolling bomb. It was actually really good for Scott because it got everybody hit into the tag pro and whatnot. They got the regrab, and all of a sudden there was only one person over on the other side of the base on offensive defense, and that was going to be 2 caps, basically from the start.
And Exile's now making his way out of base. He's going south. He has 2 blockers.
It's the same story, though.
Yeah.
Now Rectile Dysfunction, we're all caught on the other side of the map, and that's how quickly things can happen on this map.
It's amazing. And, ooh, bad choice. Slowpoke was there. Great return. Yeah, this map really definitely does come down to positioning over skill.
Well, it certainly is a skill map. I mean, there's lots of good skill shots. There's lots of good ways to be, you know, really technical on offense. But it's, I think, much more of a team play map than others. I think something like Glory Hole was really similar, where you can just be caught entirely on the wrong side of a huge map, and you can't get over in time before the other team scores.
And what we just saw there, Exile was sitting alone in base with Tag Pro. Great move. I think it was by Slowpoke who came in off the wall right around him and got the cap.
And that's a smart kiss. That's a smart kiss from Slowpoke. That was way too risky for Gasper and friends there. I think that was a pretty smart play for him.
All right, and here comes G-Man. Can they get Slowpoke? They do. Can they get Scott? Exile, great boost. I'd cap that's there. G-Man being very patient. He has blocks, and Slowpoke can't snipe him from behind. And it looks like Gasper and friends are going to take a 5-4 lead with 1:28 to play in this half.
Yeah, that was really nicely done. Guard was actually in a really nice position on the button there, and they got just good enough blocks for the cap to come around.
And they got power-ups on D. They're doing a great job of keeping Slowpoke off this flag and keeping him from escaping up top. Exile coming in with the tag pro. G-Man picks up Juke Juice. I think this could be another one here if they can do this right.
Yeah, they've got the double blocks on Scott. It's going to be 2-on-2 in the base, which is pretty tough for the defense.
And G-Man dodges inside and out! G-Man bobbing and weaving his way into base, looking like our good old Shady McCoy of the Philadelphia Eagles there.
Yeah, man, he's breaking some knees on that. Holy crap.
And it's now a 2-cap lead with 42 seconds to play in this half. Slowpoke is coming in. He's got 2 behind him. He's got 1 to beat. And Slowpoke falls on the flag. It's now 6-5. And do you think Scott can make magic happen here with 30 seconds left in the half?
Well, we've got basically the entirety of Gasper and friends. So it's going to take some good moves. And I think Slowpoke is making a mistake right here going for the regrab. He doesn't have time for it. He should be back blocking.
I agree 100%, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And Slowpoke, maybe the regrab is worth it. He's coming to the base. There's 9 seconds to go. He's got the blocks and Slowpoke. Wow. It's 7-6. 7-6. Rectal Dysfunction and Sky is the regrab. And things fell apart for the Ghost Boosters in the closing minutes.
Oh my god, I look like an idiot now. Holy crap. They forcing the flaccid. That was fantastic. Fantastic defense. Defense at the offensive. Defense. Sorry, I should say. From Rectile Dysfunction.
The keys to victory, ignoring us.
and that's something that we used to see a lot from guys like Felix, where he knew he had a cap coming in, and he was really good at playing no grab, and right when the other guy is pushing, you just let back, force the flaccid, and get the easy cap, and start clearing out the base, and that was really, really well done.
Man, things just fell apart for Gasper and friends at the end. They had it the whole way.
Yeah, they did. That being said, it's only 1 cap. Let's not blow this out of proportion. That was a pretty big meltdown on the end of the half, but this is still anybody's game. Oh,
absolutely. And for them to take the lead, it's just been slowly escalating. And Slowpoke, what a great sub to come in and get 5 caps in that game.
Yeah. And I think probably Gasper and friends are pretty happy that the half ended there because they didn't look like they were in that good position even with Slowpoke coming in, or even with the next guy coming in, there's already a regrab. So probably a really nice opportunity for them to settle themselves, get back into the flow of things. The mental aspect is I think such a big deal. Having been on teams, I've been on teams with that kind of were all over the place. Some were really emotional. Some teams are pretty steady, and it's when your whole team gets on tilt, it can just be a disaster, especially on a map like Danger Zone.
Oh yeah, because getting on tilt in Danger Zone, you have such a short recovery time, and things can just be flying by you. And then once you're out of position, you tend to stay there.
Yeah. Now we have Erasmo coming in. So interesting about Erasmo, I asked him the other day where his name came from.
Right.
Yeah, he just made it up. It doesn't mean anything.
Oh.
Literally doesn't mean anything. He just has it.
I was ready for like a fabulous story.
I know, right? I set it up and then I just smacked
Knocked
you
it
down.
down.
Yeah, man. That's what you get for beating me in that favorite commentator vote.
Well, I didn't vote. The people have spoken.
All right. I like these moves though, getting Real Duck and Erasmo back in there. I think this is a much more solid team from Gasper and friends. I wonder if Real Duck wasn't just having connection issues.
Yeah, I can't think of a good reason to take him out. He's such a force.
Oh yeah, it's so hard to contain him, especially on an open map where you can run laps like Danger Zone. Maybe a different issue next week, but that's Geo Koala is a different map for a different day.
I think it's a very interesting finals decision to go with Geo Koala.
It is. I was a little upset about it when I first saw it winning the votes, but the more I thought about it, the map recently has gotten a lot more offensive, I think, at the higher levels. A lot of people, I think Dino stands out for me as somebody who's really good at abusing the gates and the bombs, and I think there's going to be more action than some people are expecting.
Yeah, I was running through the map today with Train and a few other people while I was at work. And they were showing me some cool things that I never saw before.
Yeah, I think, oddly, I think, for a map that's been around for so long and that isn't, it's not a very complicated map, I think it has developed a lot more than many other maps recently. And I think it's really only just now getting figured out offensively, which is kind of cool to see that that's still happening in Tag Pro after so long.
You think it's sacrilegious to give maps like a facelift with the version 2?
Well, no, I mean, Geo Koala is a version 2.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, the original one didn't have the path through the middle, and it didn't have bombs in the base, because it predates bombs.
Oh, no, I'm talking version 2 of Tag Pro with, the angles and the 45 degrees.
Oh, yeah, I think it's not worth it, because so many maps were sort of made with the tiles in mind. Just for me as a map maker, I make a lot of different decisions now with 45-degree tiles than I did before they were there. So I think it's best to just leave maps as they were, unless there's a really good reason to add in the 45-degree tiles.
G-Man picking up the flag here. Matt O'Malley and guard. He's got 2-on-1, and G-Man finds a way out underneath as Real Duck's getting ready for the regrab. And off the wall, G-Man goes. Looks like he's going to do a pretty decent job of staying alive here. I can't believe he's keeping this going.
And that wasn't bad defense either by Guard and Matt O'Malley. They both kept on the right side of G-Man. They were keeping him pretty well contained. That was just a really nice job by G-Man.
And that's a bad snipe by Slowpoke right into the spikes. But it doesn't look like it really matters. They're in really good position to keep him from capping, even if Scott gets returned.
I can't believe G-Man's still alive. He had 3 people surrounding him now. This is actually getting ridiculous.
G-Man,
he's free too.
Tag Pro, not the power-up you want when you have the flag.
No, but it is at least nice to know. I mean, I don't know. Some people I would think would get angry at that, but at least you're keeping a Tag Pro from the other team.
That's the only advantage I can think of with the Tag Pro and the flag, yeah. But
and you know what? With bases as condensed as this, that isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's kind of situational, but it could help.
Right, but when I have the flag, I'm praying for a Juke Juice or a Rolling Bomb almost every time.
Oh yeah.
And Real Duck now, the substitute. Can't figure out why he was out for the first half of this game. See if he can take his team back to victory.
He's doing a good job running laps right now. I think he's also going to be looking for power-ups pretty soon.
Well, he's in pretty safe position. There's really no reason for him to go anywhere at the moment.
Yeah, heads up by Exile to block guard off that button. It was a little threatening for Real Duck. That was a cool boost, double boost, by the way, by Real Duck. I don't know if I've ever seen that. No, at least on purpose.
And Slowpoke picks the flag. If he can't find a way out of base, And he does, though, so it's a non-issue. And oh no, he pops himself. Exile, can he catch Scott? Doesn't look like it's going to happen. Scott is free. And it looks like he's in danger.
Yeah, and I'll say, something that I said yesterday, the more that this goes on with just both teams just holding, the better it is for erectile dysfunction. They're totally okay with this. It's only a 1-cap lead, but, this is 3 minutes. Basically, this is now a 7-minute game that Gasper and friends have instead of a 10-minute game. And the more the clock runs down, the more erectile dysfunction are happy with it.
So you think they could just probably run a regrab train and just try and milk the clock?
I mean, whether they can do it consistently, that's pretty hard, but I think if that happened, they wouldn't be upset with it.
Yeah, and this is the map where it might be easier to do it on other maps because you don't have to go back to base with the flag. Right.
And both teams, by the way, doing a nice job on the offensive defense, controlling the gate.
Yeah, as we saw right there. Real Duck picking up a tag pro. Scott grabbing the juke juice for himself. Exile missing on a snipe. And it looks like everyone's just going back to base. They're not even bothering chasing Scott. They'd rather just get between him and the flag. And Erasmus with the snipe.
And now let's see what Erasmus does after this, too. That's always such an awkward position for me as a defender, knowing somebody's grabbing, thinking, where do I position myself? Because he has so many ways to get out of base. You almost, like for me as a Rasmonome, I almost just go back to the half where Real Duck is and say, I know you have to, like that area where Rasmonome's going right now, you have to go through there eventually, so you might as well sit there and wait for another opponent to come around the back. I feel like if you try and get aggressive on defense in the position Erasmus was in, you're just going to get burned.
Well, it looks like he has a capping opportunity here. He's got a rolling bomb. Oh, no, and Matt O'Malley steals the flag, totally thieving it. They were more concerned with clearing a path for him to come with the flag, but he had rolling bomb. They should try to keep the flag in base.
Oh, gee, man.
That was brutal. Real Duck with the escort. Rasmonome slowing down on the button. Interesting play. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it looked pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's not going to get out of there. Holy crap. That shouldn't have, well, I mean, that was...
Yeah, not that time.
Almost. A little sloppy hitting that wall. I don't know if he did that on purpose.
And this could be a capping snipe for Exile, but he missed slow polka. Rasmonome's still alive.
Matt O'Malley, he got Erasmonome because of that bomb, but he got a little bit greedy, and Erasmonome basically got around him if it wasn't for that bomb knocking him back. And Real Duck now has that one-on-one with Guard. That's going to be pretty easy for him.
Yeah, Real Duck one-on-one is not as even as a matchup as you would assume it would be for one-on-ones.
I don't think anybody's assuming it's an even matchup. I think most people would give that to Real Duck most of the time.
All right, even Guard with Tag Pro here. Even though it's like a one-tile distance, it's just literally like a fake out.
Yeah, and Real Duck retreats. He can get out of there too, and that's just one more function of the map. There's always a different way to go. There's never really a spot, or there's not many spots on this map where the offense is stuck with one way to go. They always have an alternative.
I wish I had his skill set.
He's got. If I had to characterize the way that Real Duck does flag carrying, it's that he's really smart. He plays a lot. Actually, it feels a lot like playing against Mike, defending against Real Duck, because a lot of times he won't do the big flashy moves. He just, as he caps, you can see, like Real Duck, he doesn't do the big flashy moves, the huge jukes. He just stays alive and stays alive and stays alive, and you think you have him, and then all of a sudden he caps, and you don't know how it happened.
Who would you say he reminds you of the most in the game?
Real Duck?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably Mike. I think he really does play really similarly to how Mike did. I mean, maybe that's not the most recent of reference, but it's pretty accurate, at least in my experience.
It's a reference I didn't even understand. When did Mike play?
Mike was like season 1, season 2. I think he was the cap leader season 2 of Major League Tag Pro. He was as Scott. Basically, early on when Major League was first starting, it was basically Mike and OP and Asdiff and then everybody else. And Mike was, like, how there's a bunch of pub heroes now getting 70-80% win percentages. Mike was doing that, months, well before anybody else. And I think if you had asked people, 7-8 months ago who the best player in Tag Pro was, they'd probably say Mike.
There's pub players getting 70-80% win percentage.
Have you seen Wow Such Pro? He has like 10 different accounts that all have it.
Yeah, I'm saying other than a WoW Such Pro. I think he goes for that 100% win percentage.
There's a few who are doing it, certainly a lot more than there used to be. And Mike did it too in a time when pubs were a lot more difficult than they are now.
So what's the story of Mike? Did he burn out?
I think he just didn't really want to do the competitive. I still see him pubbing. I think he just wasn't really in for the competitive too much.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually just ran into him on a pub 2 days ago, so he's definitely around.
Well, we wish Mike well, leading the way for future stars like Real Duck.
Yeah, let's get back into what's happening right now, though, because we've still got a pretty close game on our hands.
Well, it's 1-0.
Which, by the way, it's tied.
Yeah, it is a tie game. There's 1 minute and 56 to play, and G-Man has a power-up and a bomb and time. But he doesn't have anyone in position to help him get home. Scott coming in.
That's cheeky from G-Man coming through that gate after using the rolling bomb.
It was a little cheeky. That's a great term.
I wish I could say that with like an English accent. It was a little cheeky. Oh man, Scott with a really good idea though. Rasmussen was a little bit too smart.
Great button by Rasmussen. There's 1 minute 25 to play, but as we saw in the first half, 1 minute and 25 can lead to a ton of caps if you just get a little sloppy. And G-Man, he should be going after Slowpoke here. I'm a firm believer, when you have the flag and rolling bomb, you go for the return.
Oh yeah, unless it's going to put you in a bad position.
And that was a really bad timing for him right there as it ran out. As Matt O'Malley picked up a quick return.
That was really good. Oh, Rasmussen.
Rasmussen saving the day. Matt O'Malley getting his own return. And
this looks good for Scott.
This could be it. Can G-Man get up? He says Scott's going to cap. They now the 1 cap lead. Scott, the guy we picked to lead this team to victory before the match started.
That was really smart from him too, camping that bomb, and he managed to get a pop out of it. That was really heads-up play from Scott.
And here comes Slowpoke, as we saw in the end of the first half. Oh my God! I was gonna say things are falling apart again for Gasper and friends. That was as close as it gets to capping, as you can imagine. But with 22 seconds left, it might not matter. We're gonna see what Real Duck and G-Man can do. There's 16 seconds to play.
That was really, well, Slowpoke was basically playing safety, so they weren't going to get around him, but that was also really nice for guard, because you don't want to rely on a one-on-one to try and keep your playoff hope.
And Rasmussen's coming to base with Scott's there, and there's going to be 2 seconds left. No one's going to get Slowpoke, and that's going to be the end of Game 2. Rectile Dysfunction coming back, taking the lead. Wow.
It's gonna give us an overtime, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
It's pretty remarkable that happened twice with the quick offensive burst at the end by Rectile Dysfunction.
And just as the major team went into overtime last night, the minor team's going to follow the path today.
Yeah. And that's something I think I would be a little bit concerned about if I was on... If it happens once, fine. But if I was on Gasper and Friends, it seems like they're letting off the pedal a little bit at the end. And this Rectile Dysfunction team is far too good to give them any breathing room at all.
I couldn't agree more. I wonder what the aggregate score would have been. I'm personally not a fan of like the 2-game format. I think it's kind of confusing. I'd rather see either 2 15-minute halves or maybe just 4 10-minute quarters.
Yeah, it's a little weird. I mean, it's better than what we used to have, which was if it was like a win for both. It was, I don't know. It's a lot better than it used to be, but it still could be better.
Yeah.
I think best of 3s definitely would potentially be too long, but the 2 games is something that's kind of, I've only seen that in Major League Tag Pro.
Yeah, no, they do it at every level of the Tag Pro sport. It's always 2 games in a night, and I don't really see the logic behind it. I guess they try to get more games into stats, but when you got 24 teams like you do now, I don't think it's really necessary. It's kind of antiquated.
Yeah, I think it's just sort of left over from the first season of Major League Tag Pro, where instead of having maps of the week, each team had their own home map. So you would play 1 game on each team's map. But what ended up happening is every week it was a game on Holy See and a game on Colors.
You think they'll ever adjust and make it more like a logical format?
Well, there's been something thrown around right now in the mLTP subreddit about having, instead of just one map of the week, it'd still be 2 games, but it would be like you play map 1 and 2 the first week, and then map 2 and 3 the second week, and so on and so forth.
Really?
To at least give a little bit of variety, yeah.
That'd be really interesting.
I think it'd be really nice coming from a player perspective, because, I mean, I don't know about you, but it's really easy to burn out on a map when you're practicing on it all week.
Yeah, I mean, I find it, the more I practice on a map, I get really into it. Not so much the burnout, it's just like, okay, like, I have this mastered.
Right. Yeah, it can definitely go both ways, but especially if it's a map you don't like. Like, I know for me, Glory Hole week always sucked. Because I didn't really like Glory Hole, and then I had to play it all week because I was in the Major League week. Or the Major League map.
Alone.
It has. If there was any map that was taken out of rotation that you could put back in, what would you put in?
Map that was taken out of rotation that could be put back in. Is Star in rotation this season?
Just in general, in pub rotation or Major League rotation.
To be honest, I can't come up with anything off the top of my head. I'd have to go through it. A lot of the maps I like are the newer ones. Like, I really enjoy Wormy. I think that's going to be a fantastic Major League match.
I'm really looking forward to seeing Blast Off. I'm pretty positive it'll get voted in.
I was pretty disappointed it didn't make it into this season because I think Blast Off is a wonderfully designed map.
Yeah, it's great. It's really fun to play, and it's a pretty. It flows really well. It's really nice. Noobkin did a good job on that one. I would say, without any hesitation and with no, I don't know, with maybe making some people angry at me, but man, I would love to see Lol D in rotation. That was like the original huge chase map. It wasn't huge, it was just, that map was such a fun chase map.
Which one was this one?
And Lol D, it was Asdiv made it, way back in the day. And it was a really chasey map, but there was just snipes and crap everywhere, and it was always so much fun to play. It was always something going on. It wasn't just like, this is annoying chase fest. At least I always liked it, even as a defensive player.
You know what map I'd be really excited to see make a rotation would be Velocity.
Velocity's in rotation.
Is it for, no, I'm saying for Major League Tag Pro.
Velocity would be interesting. I think it'd be... We see a lot of... I think that Velocity might end up similar to V, where it's kind of like you're either going in one direction or the other direction, which isn't maybe a bad thing, but, I don't know.
I think it has, like, the right amount of, like, nooks and crannies to hide with the flag.
Sure. Well, let's get into this game on Danger Zone, though. This is for the first half here, right? The first half of our 2-half overtime.
Correct. It looks like 5 minutes. We'll be switching servers after this. And Real Duck has Tag Pro and a rolling bomb. He's taking his sweet time coming into base. And
we lost the rolling bomb at the wrong time.
Just poor timing. There's really not much you can do about that.
Yeah.
It takes a certain kind of pro to have your power-up timed out.
Yeah, there's only a few people who are really there. People like Wrecking Ball, I think, was one of the first people to really be good at timing in general. He's someone I would sort of think would do that.
And that was a bad suicide there. Anyway, Scott is staying alive. He's rolling around this map with the flag. He did a great job of taking his team in the game 2. And Slow Poker was another force as well.
That was a pretty angry snipe by Exile.
Yeah, real short distance, real high powered.
Those are the fun ones. You get that little roll afterwards where that's like when you can gloat. You can be like, yeah, what?
All right, and Real Duck now. He's got a real challenging task ahead of him. Can he get past these two guys? And unable to make some magic happen. And Jags dodges a snipe. And Jags has blockers and the flags in base and unable to beat Matt O'Malley to the gate.
And G-Man lost it. That's a tough one-on-one block, but that was probably a cap, I think, if he made it.
Oh, absolutely. And here comes Slowpoke in the base and G-Man on the button, blocking it.
Making up for it.
Whew. And here comes Real Duck. Guard unable to hit the boost to catch up to him. Rerouting his path. Scott's coming to base. Red team really has to be concerned about this.
And no pressure on the button for G-Man. Everybody totally ignored him. That let Real Duck get out of there.
Scott.
Yeah, I would say this button almost, if not more so, important than colors, just because it's so much easier to use.
You're talking the base button?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it makes a huge difference. It literally cuts off caps right there and then. Real Duck going back. He's going to pick up another rolling bomb. It's going to buy him just enough time, but not enough space. Oh my god! Makes me eat my words.
I thought he got out of there.
Oh, that would have been beautiful. G-Man in dangerous position now. He has to stay alive, otherwise it's a cap. And brilliant plays. G-Man is out. Slowpoke is ready for the return, though. It really looks like Rectile Dysfunction has had the upper hand so far.
Yeah, Gasper and friends look like they're on the gap foot, the back foot, but they're sort of getting everything together now. I think G-Man's done a really good job letting Gasper and friends sort of get situated again.
And Scott misses with a snipe there. And G-Man's going to have to come underneath. There's a tag pro. Jegs, better pick it up. Keep your friends safe. And there's a rolling bomb for G-Man, too. Things are lining up.
Yeah, but Scott is pretty much unchallenged getting over here.
Whoa! Exile with the near snipe. And G-Man, can he get